today's video, I'll be going over the one trading model you'll ever need in your trading career. Essentially, you can view this as a base model before you start making tweak on your own to make it to match your risk tolerance or match your trading style. But this will essentially be the base model that will help you either break out a break-even phase or help you become a more consistent profitable trade. There are key concepts I'll cover here briefly. I won't dive into deep of them, but mainly today I want to go over the systematic step-by-step on what I look for on taking every single day trades and entry I look for. Every single profitable trader, doesn't matter you're trading supply demand, ICT, or CRT, or even just trend trading, pattern traders, they all understand some sort of this concept before they take a trade. Couple of things here to highlight is you need to understand the AMD model. Essentially, there's three different phases that happens for the price. First is the accumulation phase. Accumulation phase, typically you'll see the price being range bound from a high and a low. It will bounce right between. What this is doing essentially is generating liquidity in the sell side and buy side. So in this case, we'll be generating sell side, buy side, sell side, buy side. It will continue range bound until it reach some sort of state where price is ready to break out in one direction. It will create a manipulation phase. A manipulation phase essentially is grabbing liquidity from one side. In this case, this is a buy model. So what price is doing is it will grab all the sell side liquidity before have an expansion move. During this trade, that we will not look at any single entry until we have this confirmation of manipulation that happened. A lot of users are entering every single fair value gap, every single inversion, every OTE into every single PDA race they look for, and they're constantly being stopped out. The reason you're being stopped out is because you do not understand the accumulation phase and the manipulation phase. You should understand you should only be trading the distribution phase, which is the expanding phase. This is where price move fast and price reach for your target of draw liquidity. Before the manipulation phase, if you're trading this, you're other people liquidity from the other side. If you're trading the accumulation phase, either you're scalpers, which you're going in and out very fast or high frequency trading. But usually most people who trade here as beginner, they will get chopped up. They will take an entry, go their way a little bit, and then get stopped. And then they think it's going another way. They take another entry and they get stopped out again. It will constantly be chopped up. You're not going to gain a lot of price action here, consider it's going to be range bound. What we want to focus on is expanding in the distribution phase, where you will get a large candle in the one side move, and that's what we want to capture during our daily entry for our trade. Now jumping into step by step how we can break this down. First, we want to find some sort of liquidity. So in this case, this is a buy model. We will look at the sell side liquidity here, and we want to see the sell side liquidity been taken. Once it's taken here, that means the manipulation has happened. Before we make any single trade, we need to make sure this is not continuation to move further down. We want to see there's a switch from bearish trend into a bullish trend, which is forming a buy side model. So here we want to look for some sort of market structure shift or change in state of delivery. These are two key concepts I cover in other videos. Essentially give us confirmation that we are having a confirmation of change in trend. We don't look for market structure shift or some change in state of delivery until manipulation happen. If there is no manipulation, these market structure shift and change in state of delivery, they become very, very low probability of finding a distribution leg. So the key concept here is you need to understand whether you're in the accumulation phase. If you are, you need to find some sort of manipulation phase in one direction, and then find another draw of liquidity will be your other direction from your manipulation leg. So in this case, once we understand this is the change and shift into the bullish side, we want to look for some sort of bullish PD array. So next thing what we can use is a premium discount. So anything above 50% is premium. Premium zone we don't touch. We want to enter any trade under the discount, which is anything below the 50% here. Another one is OTE here. OTE is between roughly 60% to 70%. These are optimal trading entry that we can also take a look for entry around that zone if the price ever reach back there. And then another one is fair value gap, and another one is inversion, or also known as inverse fair value gap. Other one is order block and breaker block. So these are all bullish PD array that we can stack confluences. that can give us a confirmation for our entry. And just to highlight back again, beginners are constantly looking for these PD array. Whether you're in the bearish PD array, bullish PD array, users are constantly looking for these PD arrays and wondering why they're getting stopped out. Most of the cases because they do not understand which phases they're at. If you take this during the accumulation, which these type of PD arrays will form an accumulation zone and manipulation phase, you will get stopped out, guaranteed, most of the time. In this case, you're essentially taking a 50-50 trade. Most of the majority of the time will not work out. You need to understand these bullish PD arrays or bearish PD arrays does not matter until a manipulation phase had happened and market structure shift had happened, and that aligns with the higher time frame. So take a look and understand these key concepts before you take any single trade. Now, let's dive into some of the example for these PD arrays here. Now let's jump into some of these concepts of PD arrays that I'll be using once the manipulation happened and there is some sort of market structure shift. Typically, I leverage at least 2 of these PD arrays for confluences, 2 or more. You don't really need to stack all of them together, that's really unnecessary, but typically 2 or more confluence should be enough a confirmation for you to take an entry on this. Here we can dive into a couple of them. First, we can take a look at the fair value gap here. Okay, now let's take a look at the inverse fair value gap, also referred to the inversion here. Okay, now let's jump into the premium and or discount array, where you can have see the premium above in the upper quadrant, and then the discount is the below quadrants. I'll go through this. I won't dive into the detail of these concepts. If you do want to take a look at this concept, please let me know in the comments. I'll create a separate video for them. But for now, you can pause to look at these examples if necessary. Now jump into the 4th one, the OTE optimal trading entry, which is between roughly the 60% to the 70% retracements. Now let's take a look at the order block. Okay, now let's jump to the last one, the breaker block, which is similar to the order block. Okay, again, if you like to take a look in depth of these videos, feel free to pause them and take a look at each of these examples for the PD arrays that I look for. And please let me know in the comments if you like additional videos on these concepts. I can make them separately. Now let's jump in and take a look at the first example here. So here we can see I have marked out one of the key zone here on the higher time frame. So this is the 1 hour fair value gap. Beforehand, there's a respecting this fair value gap. What we want to see is if this fair value gap continue being respected, and we want to see if this sell side liquidity will get swept. We can see this minor sell side liquidity already got swept, so I'll mark that out. So next thing we want to see is if we respect this fair value gap and sweep the sell side liquidity before we move downwards. And let's take a look. Okay, now you can see the sell side liquidity has been swept as well. Now what we want to do is to see if we can find some sort of change in state of delivery or market structure shift. Nothing yet. Okay, so now we got a market structure shift down here. Oops, erase that. So we got a market structure shift from here. Now we want to use this and find some sort of entry using PD arrays. So what we can see here, there is a 1 minute fair value gap here. What we can also see is using the fib. You can see here, this is around the OTE zone as well. And then we can also see there is a order block here, and it will go. This is pretty close to a breaker block as well. I will mark it out just in case, but it might be a little bit too crowded. But so here is a breaker as well, a breaker block all the way up here. So what I would do is I will be using all these confluences, or some majority of the time you don't really need all of this. I would just leverage at least 2 of them. Mainly is the OTE 50%, the premium price and discount price, and also some sort of fair value gap or order block. And two plus will be minimum 2, but 2 plus will be more than enough. So here I'll target. Here is just my stop, and then my profit target will be these sell side liquidity down here and here. So this will give us a very nice 10 RR trade. And now let's take a look and see how it plays out. So we got tap in. Okay. Now, okay. So we can see the price went far beyond our target here. But this is already a 10 RR trade, which is great. Risking only 7 points for roughly 70 points. Now let's take a look at the second example here. So here we can see I marked out one of the key zone for a higher time frame. This is the 1 hour fair value gap here. We can see the price came down here twice and respected and generated relative equal lows. What we want to see here is marking out the sell side liquidity down here. So these are relative lows. What we're expecting the price to see is before continue moving back up, we want to see some sort of manipulation. So right now this is ranging in the accumulating zone. We want to see a manipulation come down here, respecting the 1 hour fair value gap and swap the sell side liquidity before moving all the way back up. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so here we can see the sell side liquidity got swept over here. Now we want to see if this is getting respected. If this is getting respected, we should get some sort of change in state of delivery or some sort of market shift up here, and before we look for a low entry. Okay, so right away when the market opened, we saw a huge move all the way up. We can see a market structure shift right here. Now we want to see if we can get some sort of entry using some sort of PDAs. So let's take a look. First thing we can take a look is using the OTE. So using the fib, we can see there's the OTE around the zone here that we can use. Also, a couple things that we can use is the order block here. So here we can see there is a order block. And also very closely right below it, there is also a breaker block. So we can use this breaker. So this is a little bit, let me extend this. There's a breaker block here as well. Now we want to see is if we get some sort of pullback to around this price. So my entry will be, I'll leave a limit entry at a order block here, and then our protected stop loss will be at this candle low, and then we'll target all the way back up here for our target for the buy side liquidity here. Okay, and now this is roughly a 3.7 RR, so which is good. Now let it play out. Okay, we got tap in. So we got tap in right here, and we can see the price already respected, and it's moving back up. And here we go. And we got a breakout, a very clean breakout, and we already hit our profit target. So this is a A++ trade, leveraging just 2 confluences, order block and OTE, or you can use breaker, whichever works for you. Alright, now let's take a look at a third example here. So here I have marked out the key level on higher time frame. This is the 1 hour fair value gap, and this is the order block. So right now we're respecting the order block and the fair value gap. What we want to see is if we continue to respect this key level zone here, and if we can move down here and swap this sell side liquidity before we get a move above. So let me mark out this sell side liquidity over here. let it play out. Okay, so right away, move quite quick. So we can right away we saw. Let me move this. We got this sell side equity swept, and also we got a market structure shift up here. Okay, market structure shift, and also here we can see for looking for PDA, there is a inversion that is aligning with fair value gap. Typically, when you have a fair value gap with a inversion fair value gap lining up, those are high quality setup, and those are typically the zone entry you want to look for entry. And here we can also look getting more precise. We can use the order block and also / breaker block over here. So these currently order block and breaker block sitting right above. So we will want to see if we can get some sort of low entry using this order block down here, and then our stop will be at this low. And what we can use to target our profit targets is taking this the manipulation leg and draw a fib, and then we can target USD, and we can see if this plays out. Okay, let it play. Here we got tap, and let's see if we move above. And as this price move up all the way up here, these are order blocks that we can potentially use to move our stop loss right away. Okay, so we're getting close. Oh, here we go. So we got tap at this candle. This will be our profit target. So this is a great AA plus trade. This is 3RR, giving 156 points of profit. So this is a quite nice trade. Hope you find today's video helpful. For those of you that make it to the end, I would like to give this checklist entry PDF away complete for free. All I ask for support is follow all my social media, leave a like and comments One7rade Model, and I'll DM you the PDF link. Thank you again. Happy trading.